Imagine a screenwriter, shuffling through his numerous scripts, surrounded by mounting debt and a nagging sense of creative despair. He's got an idea, a dark, unsettling concept about desperate people playing deadly children's games for a ludicrous sum of money. He pours his heart and soul into the script, convinced it's a masterpiece. He pitches it. And then, nothing. For years, the script languishes, rejected, dismissed as too violent, too bizarre, too niche. This, my friends, is not just the plight of many aspiring creators, this is the very real, very drawn-out genesis of Squid Game. The series that would eventually explode across the globe and become a cultural phenomenon. The story begins with Hwang Dong-hyuk, the visionary mind behind Squid Game. He was a film director in South Korea, known for critically acclaimed works that often tackled social issues. Unfortunately, Hwang at the time faced creative roadblocks, financial pressures, and the soul-crushing silence of a script that just won't sell. The initial seed for Squid Game was planted way back in 2008. The world was still reeling from the global financial crisis. Hwang, like many, felt the sting of economic insecurity. He saw people around him in South Korea struggling with debt, desperate for a way out. This personal experience began to coalesce in his mind, coupled with a fascination for Korean children's games and a love for Japanese survival manga, like Battle Royale and Liar Game. He started to imagine a scenario: what if adults, crushed by debt and despair, were forced to play the innocent games of their childhood, but with the highest possible stakes? Their lives. It was a chilling concept, a perverse twist on nostalgia, and Hwang felt he had struck gold. He started writing, pouring his anxieties and observations into what he initially conceived as a feature film. The first draft of the script was completed in 2009. It had all the core elements: the desperate contestants, the deadly games, the mysterious organization behind it all. Hwang was convinced this was it. This was the story that would resonate, that would expose the brutal realities of economic inequality. He took it to various studios and production companies, brimming with optimism. And then came the rejections. Oh, the rejections. One after another. Studios found it too grotesque, too violent, too unrealistic. Too dark, they said. Nobody will watch this, they insisted. It's not commercial. Imagine being told your passion project, your artistic endeavor, your desperate attempt to grapple with societal issues, was simply unmarketable. It's enough to make a creator question everything. For a decade, the script for Squid Game gathered dust. Hwang continued to work on other projects, directing films like Silenced and Miss Granny. But his Squid Game script remained a dormant volcano of an idea, waiting for the right seismic shift to unleash its power. During this period, Hwang himself faced financial difficulties. He even had to sell his laptop at one point. The irony of being a debt-ridden writer of a story about debt-ridden characters playing deadly games was not lost on him. It just added another layer of grim authenticity to his unproduced work. The world, however, was slowly catching up to Hwang's vision. The rise of streaming platforms, particularly Netflix, began to fundamentally alter the landscape of television and film. These platforms were hungry for new, bold, and diverse content, willing to take risks that traditional studios shied away from. They weren't bound by the same conventional wisdom about what was marketable. Around 2018, nearly 10 years after the initial rejections, Netflix began aggressively investing in South Korean content. They were looking for original high-quality productions that could appeal to a global audience. Hwang's long-dormant script, still deemed too weird by many, suddenly found itself in a new environment, one that was more receptive to its unconventional premise. A glimmer of hope appeared. Hwang pitched Squid Game to Netflix. This time, the reaction was different. They saw not a niche, unmarketable concept, but a bold, compelling story with universal themes. The issues of debt, class struggle, and survival, which had seemed too dark a decade prior, now resonated deeply in a world grappling with growing economic disparities. The timing, finally, was perfect. But turning a decade-old script into a sprawling, visually stunning film was no small feat. Hwang decided to expand his original film concept into a 9-episode series, allowing for more in-depth character development and a more intricate exploration of the games and the world they inhabited. This expansion was crucial, as it allowed the audience to truly connect with the desperate plight of the contestants. The production of Squid Game was a massive undertaking. The art direction was meticulously planned, creating the now iconic sets that oscillate between childlike innocence and dystopian dread. The vibrant, almost whimsical childlike colors of the game arenas, juxtaposed with the brutal realities of the games themselves, created a disturbing visual paradox that immediately grabbed attention. The casting was also vital. Actors like Lee Young-jae as Song Ji-hun and Park Hae-soo as Cho Sang-woo brought incredible depth and humanity to their roles, which made the audience passionately root for, and fear for, their favorite characters. The chilling calm of Lee Byung-hun as the front man, and the unnerving innocence of the giant doll in red light green light became instantly recognizable. One of the brilliant strokes of Hwang's design was the use of children's games. This was a deliberate choice, not just for aesthetic appeal, but to heighten the psychological horror. Taking something so pure and innocent from childhood and twisting it into a deadly competition created an immediate sense of unease. It tapped into a collective subconscious, making the viewer question the very nature of play and innocence. Think about it. Red light, green light, a game many of us played as kids, suddenly imbued with the contrasting terrifying finality of a sniper rifle in a highly tense live-or-die environment. Tug of war, a team-building exercise, transformed into a life-or-death struggle over a precipice. The genius lay in taking the familiar and making it utterly terrifying, a masterclass in psychological manipulation. The suspense in Squid Game is relentless. Each episode presents a new game, a new challenge, and a new opportunity for contestants to meet their horrifying end. The audience is constantly on edge, guessing who will survive, and how. The moral dilemmas faced by the characters, the impossible choices they must make, further heighten the drama. It makes it more than just a festival of the grotesque. It's a profound exploration of human nature under extreme pressure. And the humor, though dark, is undeniably present. The absurdity of the situation, the juxtaposition of the childish games with adult stakes, and the occasional moments of genuine camaraderie, before it's inevitably shattered, provide fleeting moments of levity amidst the horror. It's a testament to Hwang's skill that he could weave in these elements without diminishing the overarching tension. When Squid Game finally premiered on Netflix in September 2021, no one, not even Hwang Dong-hyuk, could have predicted the sheer magnitude of its success. It exploded. Within weeks, it became Netflix's most-watched series of all time, reaching over 1.65 billion hours viewed in its first 28 days. The show resonated across cultures, sparking conversations about debt, class inequality, and the dark side of human nature. The iconic green tracksuits, the masked guards, the unsettling doll, all became instant cultural touchstones. Social media was flooded with memes, challenges, and analyses of the series. It was a global phenomenon, seemingly appearing out of nowhere, but in reality, the culmination of a decade of quiet perseverance. The long journey of Squid Game, from a rejected script to a global sensation, is a powerful reminder of several things. Firstly, the importance of artistic vision and stubborn persistence. Hwang Dong-hyuk never gave up on his idea, even when faced with overwhelming rejection. Secondly, it highlights how much the entertainment industry has changed, with streaming platforms providing avenues for stories once deemed too risky or too niche. Finally, it speaks to the universal resonance of its themes. Despite its distinctly Korean setting and cultural references, the core message about the crushing weight of debt and the lengths to which desperate people will go resonated with audiences worldwide. It held a mirror up to societal anxieties that are far more pervasive than many realize. The series that almost never was became a cultural landmark and a chilling allegory for the challenges in our times.